Hello everyone, Mancini here. Okay, so I'm doing a quick rundown on Hackthis, which is a website similar to Hackthis site. And these little missions will teach you basic concepts of hacking. I just started this. I was a big fan of Hackthis site, but um, they seem to be a little bit unstable, in my opinion, anyways. And I came across hackthis.co.uk when I was creating my video series on Hackthis site. So I've started here on their basic missions again, and again, just like the Hackthis site videos, I like to create one for Hackthis in case you're stuck. Now, um, the first thing I like to say is before coming to the solution, really think about the problem, really try to understand what's going on so that you can grasp the concepts of what you're learning instead of just getting the answer. So, with that said, let's continue. Let's go on. So, um, on Hack This, they have certain levels. So I just started from the top, and I really just started. So main is their kind of qualifying round, I guess, and then there's basic, intermediate. Then there's things like Java, SQL injection, coding, and the rest. So I'm going to start off here with the main. So first one, we get a username and password prompt. Okay, so let's hit submit first, see what happens. Okay, so we get invalid details. One thing that I like about this set is that there is a show hint. Like if you want some context or something, you can click show hint. Okay, and since this is the first one, it kind of really babies you on how to view page source and stuff like that. So first thing we're going to do is hit view page source. Okay. So we're gonna go through the page source here. So you have to scroll down to really where the exercise begins. Okay, so here it is. This is where the page begins. So the exercise. Uh, One thing is that these guys are very tricky. Um, a bit more trickier than Hackthis site. If you scroll down, or I think it was scroll up, there was a comment there. Username in, password out. Okay. They did that essentially. What they're doing here is pretty much seeing if you have the knowledge on how to use basic tools at this point. So viewing the source code. So that was a very simple one, in and out. Okay. Let's go to main level 2. Okay. View page source. With these, especially in the beginning, they're going to walk you through HTML based sites and stuff like that. So we're always going to be doing view source. One thing I always like to do, hit submit. Okay, make sure that they haven't included any tidbits here. I like to see that invalid details or something. Again, show hint, but I'm not going to use that. Okay, so let's scroll down to where the user is. Okay, so let's look at, this is the exercise. So we have a method of post, username, and you're going to see something here. The answer is staring you in the face, which is right here. Okay. What's happening here is that the username, okay, this is the value that's being assigned to the username variable. So when I type in Resu SAP, hit submit, there you go. Common I like to say that this is not common. You're not, some of these exercises are way too easy, but it breaks down the core concepts. Okay, so let's hit next. Okay, again, username and password field. Let's look at page source. Okay, so I see the issue actually right in the top. I don't even have to scroll down. This is definitely not, and this is definitely here on purpose. There's no way that the creators of this site made this mistake. Here's this JavaScript. Let's look at the Java function. Okay, so there's a submit if document get element by ID, which is user. So this is going to be a JavaScript here. So I bet you if I hit submit, okay, I expect that there is this is definitely Java. Okay. Just by the looks of it, with more experience, you start realizing that. Okay, and on top of that, this prevents page from creating additional dialogues and stuff. It has the look and feel of Java. And sure enough, there is some JavaScript here, and we see that the user has a value of heaven, okay, and the password has a value of hell. So if I put heaven and hell, I'm in, and it actually tells you, okay, that storing this, right? And on top of that, that just is really, really bad. In reality, unless it's a real novice programmer, there's no way that they would be doing something like that. They'd be sending that info back to the server through a Java function or something like that to send out. There's no way that they would post that right directly into the source code. But just to be sure that you really know a little bit of Java, and reading the source code really tells you what's going on here. Okay. So let's see 4. So again, username password field. Let's hit view page source. Okay, nothing really at the top here. So let's go down to username. Okay, so what they've done here, there is a post method for username password. We're sending the username and password strings over to password. Now the password file is stored in a XML file. Okay, so what we'll be doing is trying to get there. Okay, so XML, first of all, just so you know, it's clear text if you didn't know that. And second of all, there was no directory protection. I was able to traverse all of the directories all the way back to where this password file is stored. Okay, so ideally, first of all, using unencrypted methods to store passwords is just a horrible idea. And XML is really not a place to be storing your passwords. And on top of that, the directory, the fact that I was able to traverse the directory tells me that they did not configure their Apache server properly. So username 999, password 911. 999 911. There we go. Let's go over to level 5. So we immediately get a password prompt. Okay. Yeah, I has a sad. So let's see here. Okay, again, your starting point, source code. Always source code. See what is going on in the source. Let's go to username. Okay, maybe it's called something else in the code, so you have to scroll down. Okay, let's check it. Okay, so that looked like a Java script in the beginning. So let's look for any. Okay, obviously we're going to have Java keywords, but okay, level 5 JavaScript. Okay, so here we go. Here's our JavaScript, and again, there is a if statement showing that the username should be 9286JAS. Again, some bad Java programming. Let's go back. Perfect. Not only that, if you didn't notice, but here's another issue with this site. Let's go back. When I copy and paste, notice how there's no sanitization here. So essentially, sanitization would be that as you're typing in your passwords, there should be, for best practice, should be stars or something like that. That way, if someone is looking for, maybe looking over your shoulder or something, they can't see your password in clear text. So, hit OK. Let's go to level 6. So log in as Ronald. Okay. So again, source code, but take a shortcut. Let's right click and go inspect element. By doing inspect element, instead of scrolling down through all the source code, I can look for the code for this particular drop down. Hit drop down. So there is a drop-down option with, drop-down box with the following options: John, Peter, David, Sam. Okay, it's written within the HTML. Because HTML is a client side, the execution is done by the client side. If I inject Ronald. If I inject Ronald into the dropdown, which will be valid because now the source code in the browser has changed, and since again this is a client-side language, Ronald submit, boom, I'm able to log in. Okay, so watch for things like that, the differences between a server-side language and a client-side language. Okay. Let's look at 7. Okay. Username, password prompt, view page source. Okay, so we got a username, password. This one is a little tough, okay, because it's just posting to. We're just taking the username, sending it over to pass. Okay. Okay, let's do show hint. Okay, so the password again is stored in a text file. This time, however, it is not straightforward as your viewing source. You wouldn't even be able to find a search engine. Okay, they've given you the answer pretty much here, as long as you're informed about the web and how it's working. So it's saying that you wouldn't be able to find it by using search engine, as search bots have been excluded. Well, how do you exclude search bots? Through the robots.txt file. So go back to the main directory, to the main domain. Come here. Okay. 7. Sorry, I went back too far there. And now we're going to go /robots.txt. What the robots file is here is when search engines come to crawl the site, you can tell the search engine not to crawl certain directories. But in this case, we know now that there are other directories. So there is levels, extra, and userpass.txt. Okay. So let's go back here. Levels, extras, userpass.txt. And there's a clear text file with 2 entries in it, which is presumably the username and password. So let's go back to 7. There you go. So that teaches you about the robots.txt file and how search crawlers look for data. Now, this in the real world can be very useful, actually. So this is a pretty good exercise. Where the other ones, realistically, you may not run into that same issue, and the site does tell you that. In the beginning, they're just checking to see if you have enough basic concepts, and if you don't, by now you would have either researched them or something like that. Okay. So, but in this case, we can see some directory structures. We know, for instance, there's an inbox and levels and slash users and stuff like that. So I bet you some of this stuff may even become useful later on once I start doing other missions. Okay, so on to level 8. Okay, view page source. So user, we're back at username. Okay, again, there's a passwords file that's given to you in extras slash secret.txt. Okay, so extras secret.txt. Okay, now we have 2 hex. This is 2 hex hashes. Okay, so essentially now this is encrypted, quote unquote, but that's a very common way of looking at. Sorry, that's a very easy way of encrypting data. It's essentially clear text at this point. I'll show you how easy it is in a second. And on top of that, very poor programming. So just use simple Google. And we're going to change binary to hex. And we get the password. Username is obviously the top, which is boob, and with 2 zeros, and the password is feed. Okay, and sure enough, boob feed is the password. Okay. So this is an interesting one. Username, password, and now you get request details. Okay, so let's check the source code for username. Now we see that there's no real issues this time with the post function, but we do got a forgot password. So let's try getting in that way. Open up request password, you get an email. Let's view page source again. Okay. Here we go. So we get a post for an email, taking the text string email and sending it to email 2. It has a hard-coded value of admin@hackthis.co.uk. Okay, so let's inject my email address into that. So inspect, email, change the admin@hackthis site, change it to my email. Now remember, it's going to take the string that I put in, but there's a hard-coded string already in the back. So if I hit submit, it's just going to send my email to the server, which is going to send me an email. Okay, with the password details, and hit next. So this is the last mission, level 10. So let's check this out now. View page source. Go down to username. Now we see username level 10 pass.txt. Okay. Let's check this. Okay, remember that extras directory? So we found that directory all the way, I think it was level 5 or something like that, with the extras. So extras / and see if it's in there. Okay, and it is. And we have two password hashes. Judging by the length, they're SHA-256, and so this must be the username, and this is the password. Okay, so I could use Kali and John the Ripper and stuff, but I have a favorite one of my favorite websites. It's CrackStation. Okay, so CrackStation has a pretty impressive database of pre-cracked hashes. So I can use that and feed these two password hashes in there and see if they're easily crackable. Okay, put in the CAPTCHA. Click crack hashes. Okay. Username is Carl. Password is guess. And hit submit. There we go. There we go. Level 10. And now we're done. So that is Hackthis, main levels 1 to 10. And so if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. If you need any help, please reach out. My email is sean@seanmancini.com and my website's seanmancini.com. Talk to you guys later. Thank you.